Hello, Zion friends and family. So glad you all are joining us for another YouTube Sunday school lesson. Well, let's go ahead and get started like we always do. Let's get started with this right here. What is this called? Do you remember? The circle of the church year or the church calendar. Look where we are at today. We are at this green spot here. But did you know this green spot today could actually be a white day? Why would I say it could be a white day? Interesting, huh? Well, this Sunday is actually Transfiguration Sunday, and we are going to find out what Transfiguration Sunday is in our lesson today. So this is where we are at. So what comes next? Look at this. We're already to these purple days. What are these purple days called? Do you all remember? I hope you're shouting it out loud. Lent. Good job. These are the days that prepare us for all these days. What are those white days called? Easter. Good job. So we have Easter and it continues, right? It doesn't stop on Easter Sunday. It continues all the way to this red day. What is the red day called? Pentecost. Good job. Then we come back all the way to these days here that go all the way up to there. What are these green days called? Ordinary time. Good job. Which brings us to those blue days. What are the blue days? Advent. Those are the days that get us ready for this day right here, these days. What are those days? Christmas. Good job. You guys have always been great at this church calendar, and I'm sure you are still doing great at home with it. So good job, guys. Let's go ahead and get started with our story today. All right. So the lesson I chose today, it actually comes from ministrytochildren.com, written by Stephanie Fernandez, with some changes that I had to make to be able to do this on YouTube for you guys to show you some things. So let's get started. In today's Bible lesson, something happened that is called Transfiguration. Transfiguration means a complete change of appearance. Wow, a complete change of appearance? I wonder what happened. Any ideas? Well, let's find out. So, after Jesus chose his disciples, he was really busy. He taught huge crowds and performed tons of miracles. When it was finally time to move on to a new town, Jesus chose 3 of his disciples to join him for a hike. Their names were Peter, James, and John. Jesus led Peter, James, and John up a high mountain. So this is our mountain today. We're going to have them climb the mountain. Here we go. All right. We got them all placed. They made it up the high mountain. When they were far away from everyone else and out of sight, they stopped. As soon as they stopped, Jesus' clothes suddenly changed to white. But his clothes weren't just white. They weren't even bright white. They were bright white that was so bright white, it doesn't even exist. So, an example could be he was so bright, he was shining. So, kind of like this right here. If I was shining this flashlight at Jesus, just like this, see that? See how the light is shining? It's just a different type of white. It was a special moment. God was shining through Jesus. What do you think the disciples were thinking after this? I would imagine they might have been scared. How do you think you would feel? Then all of a sudden, 2 more men showed up out of nowhere. Let me grab our 2 men. So weird that 2 more men came. You might know them. Let me see. Oh, here he is. You might know their names. are Moses and Elijah. Whoa, wait a minute. Moses and Elijah? Moses is the man who led the enslaved Israelites out of Egypt. That was over 1,000 years before Jesus was on earth. And that's not all. Elijah was a prophet who helped to get rid of false gods and idols, so people would know who the one true God was. And that was 800 years before Jesus. 800 and 1,000 years? Can you believe it? They went up to heaven hundreds of years earlier, and yet they were standing with Jesus, just having a conversation like it was no big deal. Peter, James, and John, they were in shock. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. A bright white, so bright white, it doesn't even exist. And now, these two men are with Jesus that should be in heaven? Crazy, right? Then it got even more amazing. A cloud appeared above them, and a voice spoke. So here's the cloud. The voice said, "This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him." And suddenly, it all disappeared. No cloud, no Moses, and no Elijah. Just Jesus on a hike with Peter, James, and John, slowly walking back down the mountain. Wasn't that a wild story? Can you even picture it? Colors that don't exist? People from hundreds of years ago? And a talking cloud? I can't even imagine what it was like for them. But I can imagine that it must have helped Peter, James, and John believe that Jesus really was the Messiah. It's hard to doubt something you can see with your own eyes. It was proof that Jesus really is real. Now, I highly doubt that any of us will get a visit from Moses or hear a talking cloud, but that doesn't mean we can't know Jesus is real. We just have to find out a different way. What's one way we can know Jesus is real? Well, I got one right here. How about the Bible? We can see the Bible, and it tells us all about Jesus and why he came. It tells us about Jesus being born, teaching, performing miracles, dying on the cross, and coming back on the third day, even glowing in a color that doesn't exist. There is so much written in the Bible that we can learn something new from it each and every day. We even get to know things about Jesus that Peter, James, and John didn't know. And what about prayer? Have you ever prayed for something impossible and then that impossible thing actually happened? It can happen. And it's another way Jesus shows us he is real. How about just looking at the absolutely amazing world that God made for you? There are so many different animals, plants, people, and places. And we get to see that every single day. It's amazing to think about what it would have been like to meet Jesus, see him perform a miracle, or even glow in a color that doesn't even exist. But it's also amazing to have our Bible, or maybe see a snowflake, like a lot of us saw this week, or to speak to God in prayer. Our lives are full of amazing things every single day. Jesus is real, and he wants us to know it. We only have to look around us to see that Jesus is real. So today or this week, think about a time that Jesus may have been talking to you. I think we all probably had a moment to let us know that Jesus is real. So right now, This is the end of our lesson, so bow your heads with me and let's say the prayer our Father taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right, everyone, I want you to enjoy this beautiful week. I know we have snow out and it's cold. Stay warm and have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. See you next week.